Welcome to the ROK India Track to 1.5 Advancing the Green Hydrogen Supply Chain for Green Steel Production Forum. My name is Yoonsoo Kim from the diplomacy team at Solutions for Our Climate, SFOC, based in Seoul, South Korea. This event is co-organized by SFOC and the Korean Institute of Economic International Policy, KIEP Delhi office, with the support of the Embassy of Korea in India. As we know, the international community is now less than 5 years away from the critical milestone for limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The international community has already experienced temporary breaches of the 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold, underscoring the urgency of decisive climate action. As countries prepare to submit their 2035 nationally determined contributions, the coming years are critical to set ambitious science-based targets that can keep the Paris Agreement goals within reach. To achieve this, it is essential that the industrial sector, one of the most energy-intensive sectors, transitions rapidly and reliably to renewable solutions. Today's dialogue is an opportunity to strengthen the Korean-Indian partnership, exchange policy insights, and foster collaboration between public and private stakeholders. Let us take this moment to reaffirm our shared commitment to build a sustainable industrial future. We are honored to be joined today by distinguished representatives from both of our countries. First of all, I would like to invite Mr. Sang-woo Lim, Deputy Chief of Mission from the Embassy of Republic of Korea, to deliver his welcoming remarks.
Morning, everybody. Namaste, distinguished guests, esteemed participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed my great pleasure to welcome you to today's meaningful dialogue on advancing green hydrogen supply chain for green steel production. First of all, my deepest gratitude to Solutions for Our Climate and also the Korean Institute for International Economic Policy Delhi office for their hard work and effort to prepare today's event. And thank you all once again to all the distinguished guests from both our countries who have gathered here today. As it was rightly pointed out just now, we're meeting at a time when global commitments to climate action is faltering amid geopolitical tensions, as even the urgency has never been greater, with only 5 years left to achieve the 2030 milestone for limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And so this dialogue could not have been more timely. And as you are all well aware, Korea and India are not only time-tested friends, but also special strategic partners, as we are marking the 10th anniversary of our special strategic partnership established in 2015, when Prime Minister Modi ji's visited Korea. And since then, our partnership has grown stronger with mutual trust between our top leaders being enriched and trade and investment expanding, as well as vibrant people-to-people exchanges taking place. The Korean government attaches the highest priority to its relations with India, and a clear demonstration of this commitment was the early outreach that the newly elected government in Seoul undertook with New Delhi. Barely 2 weeks after his inauguration, our new president, Lee Jae-myung, held a bilateral summit meeting with Prime Minister Modi ji on the sidelines of the G7 in Canada on June 17th. And not even a month had passed after taking office when Korea's new foreign minister, Cho Hyun, visited India and held bilateral talks with his counterpart, External Affairs Minister Dr. Chaphekar. And as you are maybe well aware, our Minister Cho was actually the Korean ambassador to India from 2015 to 2017. So it is, and he's deeply committed to taking our relations to the next heights. Both Korea and India have increasingly focused on clean hydrogen as a pathway to achieve their respective climate goals and sustainable developments. Both our countries have made bold pledges to achieve carbon neutrality. Korea, on one hand, has been at the forefront of fostering a hydrogen economy with the aim of achieving energy independence. The hydrogen economy roadmap was established in 2019, and it was followed by the enactment of the Hydrogen Economy Promotion and Hydrogen Safety Management Law in 2020. And since we have also introduced a clean hydrogen certification system and a clean hydrogen power generation obligation scheme, and these are all designed to accelerate the development of a robust hydrogen economy. And demonstrating our strong commitments, the new Korean administration has also restructured the Ministry of Environment into the Ministry of Climate, Energy and Environment to more effectively advance carbon neutrality and respond to the climate crisis. Similarly, India has emerged as a front-runner in low-cost green hydrogen developments. In January 2021, it launched the National Green Hydrogen Mission to scale up production of green hydrogen and emerge as a global hydrogen hub. So our shared ambitions have opened new avenues for bilateral cooperation in clean energy transition, as well as pursuing carbon neutrality. Korea, with its expertise in the advanced hydrogen technologies such as storage, transport, fuel cell applications, and India with its capacity to produce green hydrogen at a scale and competitive costs, can explore a variety of cooperation activities in this burgeoning industry sector. And our hydrogen cooperation can naturally extend into industrial cooperation. And the steel sector is a prime example. As the world's second and sixth largest steel producers, India and Korea are at the heart of global steel industry. And at the same time, we share the same kind of challenges in reducing the significant emissions footprints of this vital sector as we work to decarbonize our economies. Steel is one of the hardest industries to decarbonize, as cutting emissions is technically demanding, costly, and slow. So the adoption of green hydrogen offers a pathway to reduce emissions and achieve our climate goals while sustaining industrial goal. आज इस विषय पर चर्चा करने के लिए हमारे साथ जाने माने बहुत एक्सपर्ट्स मौजूद है। मुझे विश्वास है कि आज का कार्यक्रम इस विषय को और बेहतर समझने में महत्वपूर्ण योगदान देगी। मेरा यह भी मानना है कि इस चर्चा के कोरिया और भारत के बीच सहयोग और भी बढ़ेगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Mr. Lim, for your remarks. Next, we are pleased to share the welcoming remarks of Mr. Nishi Singh, Acting Ambassador at the Embassy of India to Korea, who has kindly sent his message via video.
Good morning to all of you. His Excellency Mr. Gyeongjong, Member of Parliament, 22nd National Assembly of the Republic of Korea, Mr. Sang-woo Lim, Deputy Chief of Mission, Embassy of the Republic of Korea to India, distinguished panelists and participants today, a very good morning to all of you. It is a great pleasure for me to join the forum on ROK India Track 1.5, Advancing the Green Hydrogen Supply Chain for Green Steel Production. I would like to convey my gratitude to the Korea Institute of International Economic Policy, Delhi office, and SFOC for inviting me to deliver a welcome address today. This year marks the 10th anniversary of India-Korea Special Strategic Partnership. Looking back in these 10 years, we have undoubtedly progressed on multiple fronts. We established ministerial dialogues between foreign, finance, and S&T ministries respectively. We also set up consultation mechanisms at Vice Minister and senior official levels spanning foreign policy, security, defense, disarmament, nuclear energy, consular issues, policy planning, etc. A roadmap for defense industry cooperation was concluded in 2020. Our national space agencies are close to finalizing their program of cooperation. Last year, we commenced the trilateral dialogue with US on technology cooperation and with Japan on policy planning issues. Since the formation of new government in Korea in early June this year, there have been high-level exchanges. Our Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable President of Korea, they had a meeting along the sidelines of G7 in June 2025. Subsequent to that, the ROK President sent a delegation of special envoys led by former Prime Minister Mr. Kim Bo-kyung to India in July 2025, and Honorable Foreign Minister of Korea, Mr. Cho Hyun, met our Honorable External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, for consultations on 16th August in Delhi. Since last decade, India has been witnessing a rapid economic growth trajectory which offers multiple opportunities to Korean companies in manufacturing, green energy, infrastructure, logistics, etc. There is an annual report published by Federation of Korean Industries which has rated India as a most favorable destination for investment in the short to mid-term. We need to ensure that this sentiment is translated into tangible action on ground. Several developments reflect the growing Korean commitments to India. These include opening of office by Korea Investment Corporation, Korea's national sovereign fund in India last year, unprecedented listing in India by Hyundai Motor Group, their only listing outside Korea last year, and now LG Electronics getting up for their IPO this year. The POSCO JSW JV to build 5 million metric ton integrated steel plant, signing of MOU between SD KSOE and Cochin Shipyard Limited are some of the examples noteworthy. There are substantive discussions underway to explore collaboration on shipbuilding, green hydrogen, EV batteries and charging infrastructure, electronics, textile, etc. AI, data centers, semiconductor, and SMRs would be other important areas for collaboration. Honorable Representative Gyeongjong and Honorable Representative Yongtae Kim visited Bhadla Solar Power Park in August this year. They also had a meeting with our Honorable Chairperson of Parliamentary Standing Committee on Energy and with the Secretary of Ministry of New and Renewable Energy during their visit to India in August 2025. I'm also glad to share that 4 Indian green hydrogen companies have cleared CHPS standard and they are participating in the ongoing clean ammonia tendering process which has been initiated by the Korean power generation companies. India's human resource can help mitigate some of the demographic challenges that Korea faces today. We have entered into mobility partnership with several EU countries and Japan, and India and Korea must therefore also explore mechanisms for mobility partnerships. To conclude, India and ROK together can better withstand the global headwinds. Our partnership is crucial for development, mutual growth, and prosperity, and can positively contribute to addressing challenges in the Indo-Pacific region. I am confident that deliberations at this forum today will enable frank exchange of views, identify opportunities for collaboration in green hydrogen, as well as steps necessary to realize them. Thank you. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you to both of our Deputy Chief of Missions. It is truly encouraging to see the strong commitment and deepening relationship between Korea and India as we work together toward a sustainable future. We would now like to present the congratulatory remarks from Mr. Gyeongjong, member of the National Assembly of Korea. Mr. Mo is a distinguished member of the ruling Democratic Party of Korea and has recently visited Rajasthan and Delhi to further strengthen ties between our two countries. Please join me in warmly welcoming MP Mo, who has sent his remarks over video.
안녕하세요. 대한민국 국회의원 오경정입니다. 뉴델리에서 열리는 대한민국인도 1.5트랙 녹색 철강 생산을 위한 그린 수소 공급망 강화 포럼을 진심으로 축하드립니다. 아울러 오늘 행사를 준비해주신 기후솔루션 대외경제정책연구원 델리사무소 그리고 지원해주신 주인도 대한민국 대사관의 깊이 정말 깊이 감사드립니다. 저는 얼마 전 인도 라자스탄에 방문하고 세계 최대 규모 중 하나로 손꼽히는 바들라 태양광 발전단지를 둘러보았습니다. 그리고 인도 국회의원단과 신재생에너지부 사무차관 등과의 만남을 통해서 인도의 정책 인센티브, 거버넌스 체계, 민관 협력 사례를 깊이 논의하는 자리도 가졌습니다. 신재생에너지 정부의 속도와 규모가 매우 빠르더군요. 가스를 많이 배출하는 산업 중 하나라는 점에서 두 국가가 함께 머리를 맞대고 기후위기 대응에 나서야 한다고 생각합니다. 그 해법 중 하나로 주목받는 것이 바로 그린 수소입니다. 인도는 2030년까지 대규모 그린 수소 생산을 목표로 하고 있다고 들었습니다. 한국은 글로벌 수준의 기술과 투자 역량을 바탕으로서 수소 경제 로드맵을 마련하고 있는 거 여러분 잘 알고 계시죠? 인도의 풍부한 재생에너지 기반과 한국의 기술력이 결합된다면 우리가 철강 산업의 미래를 함께 새롭게 열어나갈 수 있을 거라고 생각합니다. 뿐만 아니죠. 전 세계의 1.5도 목표 달성에도 크게 기여할 수 있을 것 같습니다. 한국과 인도는 오랜 역사적 유대와 문화적 공통점을 지닌 이웃이기도 합니다. 대표적으로 전설 속 인도 공주 허황호, 역사 속 인물이기도 하죠. 대표적인 연결고리입니다. 최근 K-드라마, K-팝, 한국 음식, 한국의 대중문화가 인도에서 큰 인기를 끌고 있는 것도 한국과 인도가 오래전부터 깊은 문화적 기반을 공유해왔기 때문이 아닐까 생각합니다. 참 사담이긴 한데 저희 어머니도 김해 김씨여서 허황호가 연결이 되어 있습니다. 이러한 배경에서 오늘 양국이 함께하는 자리는 더욱 뜻깊은 것 같습니다. 이번 포럼을 통해 한국, 인도 협력이 자리 잡고 세계산업 탈탄소화의 모범 사례로 자리매김하기를 고대하겠습니다. 저 역시 국회의원으로서 이 여정에 함께하겠습니다. 여러분들과 함께할 이 날이 너무나도 기대가 됩니다. 다시 한번 오늘 행사를 축하드리고 여러분들과 항상 함께할 국회의원 오용정이었습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you, MP Gyeongjong for your kind remarks. While I warmly welcome everyone, I would like to extend my special thanks to these distinguished guests in particular. Dr. Chae-kyung Lee, who is Director of Global Business Center in New Delhi, and Dr. Eui-don Park, who is ex-president of Korean community in India, and Song Jung-cho, who is commercial counselor with Korea Embassy, and Sanjeev Ahuja, who is Asian Community News Network, who is founder and editor-in-chief in Asian Community News Network, and Prasad Singh, who is head of New Energy. So, before we move on to the keynote speeches, I would like to invite all panelists to the stage for a group photo, and the people who I just mentioned. Thank you. We would now like to invite the keynote speakers for today. Please welcome Dr. Neelima alum, Associate Head and Scientist in the Climate, Energy, and Sustainable Technology Division at the Department of Science and Technology.
Good morning, everybody. It's my, first of all, I would like to thank the organizers, KIEP, for giving Department of Science and Technology and myself this opportunity to put forward our hydrogen and steel value chains. Department of Science and Technology, as you all of you must be aware of, is a department within the Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India. We at Department of Science and Technology are majorly involved in providing science and technology, S&T inputs for various scientific and technological issues, challenges to create an ecosystem. This particular division, which I'm part of, Climate, Energy, and Sustainable Technologies, it is majorly, as the name suggests, focusing on climate and clean energy, sustainable technologies, and water-related issues. I'm myself more deeply associated with industrial decarbonization with a special focus on carbon capture utilization storage. We are also looking at, this division is also majorly looking at hydrogen as one of the focuses. And of course, I'm also looking at other climate related issues like methane monitoring and mitigation. I'm also coordinating a national program on water technologies, trying to address issues related with quality, quantity, and recycle availability of water across the country through S&T based technological solutions. So that is what I'm doing at Department of Science and Technology. Coming to the main focus of this today's gathering and today's why we are talking about it. I don't think I have to inform this August gathering about why we are talking about it. We'll all know about our global climate ambitions, our global, more than the ambitions, our global climate commitments, our national commitments, the Panchamrits, coined by our Honorable Prime Minister, the famous Glasgow commitments, we all know about it. So keeping our net zero goals, our targets, and our climate commitments, which are impending and no more, and in fact no more avoidable, no more to be put on the back of our minds anymore. It is right here in front of us. We can see it right now happening. The kind of seasonal variations, the cloud bursts, the climate change is right in front of us. So it is something which we cannot ignore anymore. We have to acknowledge it and admit it. Coming to that, we all know the major areas like transition of industrial transitions, industrial decarbonization becomes an unavoidable and almost a must approach that every government which is committed to climate has to think very seriously about. And in this light, technologies like clean and greener technologies like carbon capture, utilization, storage, be it green hydrogen or other forms of hydrogen, or renewable energy, or e-mobility, or sustainable transportation, smart grids, so many other options. There is clean coal technologies, there's alternative fuels. Many other options actually become extremely important and relevant. In this light, today's focus, since it is more on green hydrogen, I will try to bring out DST's perspectives on that aspect as far as this ministry is looking at it. We started working on hydrogen almost 2018 onwards, so it's not a very, very old program. It is a fairly young, you can say, effort of Department of Science and Technology. We started it through a global interaction with a mission innovation platform. We are still in part of the mission innovation, but it became much wider than the mission innovation interaction, the hydrogen efforts of DST. We are looking at developing indigenous and innovative technologies and cleaner technologies for hydrogen production, for developing advanced materials, electrolysis, trying to address not just the energy intensive requirements, but also the cost effectiveness. We still have challenges when it relates to electrolyzers, which is in a big way still imported in India at a very large extent. So that is one of the major focus, electrolyzers, the materials involved, the optimization of the processes, the making the whole thing much supply chain, overall the value chain much more secure and sustainable. That is the major focus that DST is doing R&D at. So let me, at the onset, make it quite clear that DST's main mandate is research and development. So we are looking at R&D for this particular focus, not just this focus. All the other focuses that I talked about relevant to net zero targets, they are all being looked at with the window of innovative technologies and materials and processes and pathways to be developed through sustainable R&D and translational as well as applied application-led R&D. That is the focus. In this regard, DST has come out with a very innovative concept. You all may be aware of it. I mean, there is the concept of heaven. You know about the heaven hydrogen valley in Netherlands, Rotterdam. That was the hub which was the initial inspiration of DST when there was some Indian delegations visiting this hydrogen valley in Netherlands, in Rotterdam. And with that focus in mind and a lot of other interactions through the MI windows, DST came out with this innovative concept of hydrogen innovation valley clusters. We call them as HVICs. I'm happy to share with all of you that there are 3 HVICs right now supported with the collaboration between the 2 ministries, Ministry of Science and Technology, DST, and MNRE, which is also the nodal agency for the National Green Hydrogen Mission. So now it has become the part of the NGHM. But HVIC was conceptualized at the DST level. DST actually not just technically conceptualized it, also conceptualized the model. Why is the model so innovative? We do understand that the value chain has to be nurtured. It cannot be just staggered R&D, which will do the job when it comes to a hydrogen value chain kind of a thing. We have to look at the whole thing in an integrated manner, and with this thought process, we designed these models for HVICs, which are trying to integrate the whole hydrogen value chain right from production to utilization, to transport, to storage. And that was the idea between HVICs. They are going to be located at distinct geographical locations with their own clusters and geographical clusters in mind. So the one which is coming up, which I'm going to particularly mention here, is the one coming up in the state of Odisha, where, and another very important innovativeness of these HVICs is each valley has a business in small scale industry, a business model dovetailed into the valley. So the idea was that not just to do a living lab kind of an idea, where there is a living lab, there is R&D going parallel, but at the same time there is a business model also along with the industry dovetailed into the valley implementation model. And there is also that integrated chain of value chain being clubbed to each other, keeping the cluster of that particular geographical equation in mind. So the Odisha one is majorly focusing on green steel manufacturing. There will be some R&D happening because there is IITs involved in Bhubaneswar, there is some industries involved, and there is whole chain being linked to each other, and then take it towards a small-scale manufacturing as well. So that was the idea of these valleys. The one coming up at Pune is looking at utilization of hydrogen into fine chemicals. The one coming in Odisha is looking at green steel through hydrogen-powered green steel making. The other one is looking at the Kerala, is looking at hydrogen-powered transport. So that is more on locomotions. So I was just trying to give you the innovative take that DST has taken. Of course, if we come in bilateral form, which the flavor of today's discussion is, so I'll definitely want to touch upon the significance of this topic when it comes to between India and Republic of Korea. I don't have to tell you, you know very well how important a steel making process is for a country like Korea. And both India and Korea, if you look at them, if Korea is the 6th largest steel making country, then India is the 2nd largest steel making company. Steel making and the steel related carbon emissions has taken a very big, important, relevant kind of a role, position in both the two countries. And that is why these two countries have a very unique positioning when it comes to, especially in green manufacturing, steel manufacturing. And then they both have some challenges. If I'm not wrong, Korea is going big time. There's Pohang Valley. We know about the Pohang Innovation Cluster. It's very inspiring to see the kind of cluster developed at Pohang. The POSCO steel giant, which is located there. Apart from that, there is a which was very interesting to observe, that there is also R&D knowledge hubs created within the Pohang cluster, and that is the kind of actually ecosystem which we also have to think about. I would, as somebody from Department of Science and Technology, it was completely insightful and inspiring to see the Pohang Innovation Cluster and Knowledge Hub, which is situated in the whole valley, with the POSCO steel making giant existing there, and also the knowledge and hub. So there is a simultaneous development of knowledge and simultaneous clean steel technologies being developed, hydrogen-based technologies being developed in the knowledge, POSTECH and all these universities, and the research R&D going on in the same cluster, and at the same time there is industry on the side by side. So that is one thing very, very insightful, and India should think about those kind of clusters as well. And it's heartening to see that POSCO and JSW and Adani are already in talk. There is a JV coming up which is being evolved between POSCO and JSW, and something very important will be soon announced probably between the two of them for green steel making. And I think hydrogen-based DRI is being considered, and also carbon capture based blast furnaces are also being developed under this thing, and circularity is another one focus under this venture. So it's very, very, I think, encouraging, and I would like to mention these developments which are right now in progress between India and in Republic of Korea. But apart from that, I think the supply chain challenge or the gap, which are a huge kind of steel making momentum in Korea, probably may face, or demand may be there in future. And the kind of large-scale steel making and the kind of large-scale hydrogen production momentum which has now developed in India through the National Green Hydrogen Mission, and the kind of focuses that Indian government is giving, and the kind of ambitions we have for green hydrogen production by 2030, 5 million by 2030. So I think these two are complementary to each other, and there is a very ample opportunity between these two countries to interact with each other and to try to fill in and match their gaps with each other. India needs a lot of technologies and know-hows, but then there can be so much of hydrogen production which will happen in India that can also meet some gaps which can happen in Korea in steel, especially keeping the green steel in mind. So that's one thing, and I think this kind of interactions and this kind of workshops are extremely important, and they will go a long way in creating these kind of platforms and dialogues, and also take this important collaboration which should develop between these two countries forward. Major things that I look forward from this kind of interaction and dialogue is to create a platform for industry and public sector and private sector between the two sides to be able to talk to each other and to create some platform where they can collaborate with each other to develop the innovative hydrogen chains that we are talking about. They should also try to meet each other's gaps and try to fill in the demands on each side. And I think this is just the right forums and just the right kind of platforms for taking these kind of ambitions and future potential collaborations forward. I welcome this dialogue, and also thank the organizers for giving DST this opportunity to share our insights with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ellen, for your inspiring remarks. We would now like to welcome Dr. Prasad A. Chaphekar, who is Deputy Secretary of Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Please help me give a round of applause.
A huge thanks to the organizers for inviting me here to this August gathering. Incidentally, I had the privilege and the fortune of visiting Korea around 2 years back. I was in Busan for the IPEF negotiations. I was there for a week, and it was a wonderful experience, and I dealt with a lot of colleagues from Korea there, which is also, and IPEF also included a lot of text about hydrogen. So we did have a lot of interaction in that forum in Korea. I'll just mention that MNRE, as you're aware, is running this mission since last 2.5 years, roughly. We have had some successes, some spectacular ones. I'll just point a very few recent ones, and then I'll come to the topic. The prices discovered in the tenders of green ammonia in the recent tenders by SECI are the lowest in the world discovered so far. It's almost $250 less than the Hindco tenders which were discovered for Europe. So we were saying that India is competitive to produce green fuels at a very low cost, and our industry has proved it in the recent auctions. regarding steel, we had a special component of pilot projects in steel. Steel companies in India are participating in it. The budget was around 455 crore rupees. Under the mission, we have allocated, I think, around 2 tranches of awardees for these projects to use hydrogen in steel making in India. As you're aware, India imports most of its coking coal for steel from abroad. We don't have the coal. So as much coal as we can replace using hydrogen, we want to do as much as possible. Also, in India, there's a huge industry of steel, which is the secondary steel industry, and they are still into coal-based DRI. And it's a challenge to convert coal-based DRI, the horizontal kilns, to vertical kilns, which are gas-based. So we are trying on all fronts, and whatever is possible, we will refer the results of this pilot project to Ministry of Steel. The Ministry of Steel independently also just released, I think a few months back, they released the green steel taxonomy for India, which means where they gave the grades of steel, which would be called stars, I mean 5-star, 4-star, 3-star. With Europe coming out with CBAM and India exporting a significant amount of steel, green steel has become very, very important, crucial for our industry and for our climate ambitions. I'm glad that our DCM in Seoul mentioned the recent JV between JSW and POSCO. Incidentally, I also mentioned that JSW in Vijayanagar is going to commission its green hydrogen plant, which is a mid-sized plant, 3,600 tons per annum for green steel. So Indian companies are taking significant steps in this regard, along with collaboration with Korean companies to take forward the agenda of green steel as it is in both our countries' interests. One point which is a bit separate from the agenda here, but Korea has a significant experience in hydrogen-based mobility. India is just starting on that path. We have projects in mobility as well, which we just rolled out. We are running buses and trucks for trials in hydrogen, along with setting up of hydrogen refilling stations. So I believe Korea is much ahead of India in this regard in deploying of hydrogen-fueled vehicles and the refilling station. So we welcome the collaboration of Korean companies or even their investments in India with regard to the station or the infrastructure required for refilling of hydrogen. We are currently at 350 bar, but in a matter of few years, we would want to go to 700 bar. So there we would also want technology from countries like Korea for a collaboration. I will not speak about the steel making part much. It is a bit technical for me to talk about steel making and use of hydrogen there. All I assure you is that our industry, which makes green hydrogen, is ever ready and ever competitive and ready for collaborations with all countries wherever we see an opportunity. I also request KIEP to kindly recommend to MNRE whether there are any specific energy events in Korea where MNRE can take a delegation or have a pavilion where we could exchange, better connect with investors from Korea, companies from Korea, clients from Korea, and we would be happy to take a delegation there. For the last 2 years, we have been taking a delegation and a huge pavilion to the World Hydrogen Summit in Rotterdam. And we would be happy to have such a thing to do in Korea, which would again be a lasting thing and it would deepen our collaboration between the two countries. So with that, I take your leave and thanks once again.
Thank you, Dr. Chaphekar, for your remarks. So let's begin our first session for today. This session will explore the integration of green hydrogen into national energy transition plans. For energy-intensive industries to truly transform, renewable energy solutions must be supported and deployed at the national level. India has emerged as a global frontrunner in this field. With the launch of the National Green Hydrogen Mission in 2021, India has set an ambitious goal of producing 5 million metric tons of green hydrogen annually by 2030. This effort is powered by India's abundant renewable resources, particularly solar energy. Korea, too, is advancing rapidly in hydrogen innovation. However, due to limited domestic renewable capacity, Korea faces a projected supply gap. To address this, Korean companies are actively pursuing cross-border collaborations and positioning green hydrogen as a strategic growth area. Strengthening partnerships with front-runners like India will be essential for Korea to bridge this gap and accelerate its transition to a clean hydrogen economy. I would like to introduce our speakers for today. So first of all, Dr. Choongjae Cho, who is Director of Korea Institute for International Economic Policy, Delhi office, will present his presentation. And we kindly ask you to keep your remarks within 7 to 10 minutes. Thank you.
Namaskar, very good morning. This is Choongjae Jo, belong to KIEP Delhi office. First, I would like to say thank you so much as one of the co-hosters for today's forums, especially all of the speakers and the panelists and all of the participants. We KIEP set up the Delhi office before 2 years back. After establishment of our office, we KIEP Delhi office have organized many forums and seminars to deepen and expand the economic cooperations between Korea and India, and such sectors like the macroeconomy, trade and investment, and ODA sector, as well as the industry sector such as the EV, semiconductors. I want to talk about why our cooperation is needed first in this sector, green hydrogen, green steel sector. The world today is faced increasing the geopolitical risk, as you know well, such as Trump tariffs and US-China, sorry, definitely not US-India, US-China tensions. And while at the same time confronting climate changes and the urgent need to decarbonizing the industries. The traditional industries such as steels, power, and transport, etc., still emit large amount of the carbons. The Korea is actively introducing clean hydrogen and green steel technology to meet industrial demand and achieve carbon neutrality. India, with its abundant solar and wind resources, is pursuing a vision to produce and export the low-cost green hydrogen on a large scale. In short, the Korea's strength lies in demand and applications, while the India's strength lies in supply and productions. The working together is not only complementary, but also a way to maximize cooperation synergies. The policies in both countries are already moving in a way that supports cross cooperation in this field. Korea, in 2024, introduced the Clean Hydrogen Portfolio Standard, CHPS, the world's first mandatory clean hydrogen uses in power generations and clean hydrogen certification system. The Korea also lead in hydrogen mobility. It produced the world's first hydrogen fuel cell car in 2018 by Hyundai Motors. And as March of this year, less than 40,000 hydrogen vehicles are in operations. By the end of the last year, less than 200 hydrogen charging stations were operating in Korea. It's the second largest number after China. In addition, 12 hydrogen pilot cities have been designated where the hydrogen is used across housing, transport, and power, etc. And Korea's steel companies are also actively developing hydrogen reduction iron making technology such as the POSCO's Hyrex. India, through the National Green Hydrogen Mission, is providing production incentives, transmission fee waivers, and is running pilot project in steel, shipping, and railways. As March in this year, the renewable energy surpassed half of India's total power capacities. This means India now has a stronger base to supply low-cost clean power and affordable green hydrogen. And India also formalized its green steel grading system in December 2024 and made it mandatory to government procurement from 2027. I think both countries already have a favorable policy environment for cooperations. So what kind of cooperation are possible? Let me suggest some areas. First, the green hydrogen supply chain. I think Mr. Prasad Singh, ONGC head of the new power, 2 years back, we are talking these issues. The India can produce the green hydrogen or green ammonia at low cost, while Korea can secure them through long-term contract. By March of this year, India had project for over 1.3 million tons per year of green hydrogen capacity under construction. Some contracts offer prices below 400 rupees per kilogram, about $4.5 at today's exchange rate, for 25 years. By comparisons, in Korea, the roadmap targets 20% ammonia co-firing in power plant by 2030 and 30 hydrogen co-firing by 2035. However, the only green hydrogen production facilities currently located in Jeju Island is wind-based facility, and the price of green hydrogen produced there exceed $10 per kilogram. Considering without this $10 is also including subsidy. Without this, the subsidy, I think 2 times more higher than at this current price. Considering these situations, the establishing long-term green hydrogen supply chain between 2 countries is both strategically feasible and commercially very attractive. Today is one of the topic, the green steels. I think POSCO with the JSW already have something, I don't know exactly. Green hydrogen from the India could be used in POSCO's Hyrex steel making or electric arc furnace. Furthermore, India's low-cost hydrogen and Korea's advanced steel technology could be combined to produce green steel production with the international competitiveness. The third is the green hydrogen mobility. India's low-cost green hydrogen could be supplied to Korea's charging stations, while Korea could share and invest in the green hydrogen cars, charging stations, and technology to India. Today's retail hydrogen for car in Korea sells about $8 per kilogram, including subsidy. Without subsidy, it will be about 5 times higher. As far as I know, the hydrogen made by chemical industry, so-called gray hydrogen, right? Yeah. And the fourth is joint research and standardizations. Dr. Alam already emphasized. We can work together on the electrolyze and the green green ammonia synthesis and cracking, storages, and the transport equipment. We also need to harmonize our green hydrogen certification system. Aligning these standards will strengthen related inter or intra-industry cooperations between both and the trade competitiveness. The Korea allows less than 4 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram of green hydrogen, similar to Japan, while India allows less than 2 kilograms of the CO2 per kilogram of green hydrogen. Next is smart hydrogen cities. The Korea is already 12 hydrogen pilot cities to operate public transport system, pipelines, industrial clusters, public facilities, and real-time safety monitoring. These models could be applied to India's urban development as well as the smart city missions. Last, I recommend infrastructure and the human resources cooperations. If both countries jointly developed related port and transport infrastructure, and also exchange people for education and technology training, the synergy will be even greater in the medium and long term. This can be achieved by actively utilizing Korea's official development assistance ODA funds, as already agreed upon at the 2015 summits. What kind of the benefits we can get from our cooperations in these fields, the green hydrogen and green steels? First, I think Korea, the stable supply of the clean energy and the low carbon steels. For India, growth of the new industries and expanded access to global market. For both, the chance to lead the green value chain across Asia could be secured. Okay, let me let up. Korea-India cooperation in green hydrogen and green steel responds to the urgent challenge of the climate changes while creating new opportunities for both countries, industries, and economies. As I mentioned, two countries have a highly complementary strengths in demand and supply, technology, and policy directions. From January next year, the EU will start enforcing CBAM MRV, Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism reporting and verifications for steel and other 5 products. And climate changes related to natural disaster will grow more frequent and severe like this year. I sincerely hope the governments, the companies, and the research institute in both countries will work together to support new industries, enable the energy and steel transmission smoothly, and open our sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cho, for your remarks. And the next speaker is Mr. Deepak Yadav, who is Senior Program Lead in Council on Energy, Environment and Water, CEEW.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Deepak Yadav, a Senior Program Lead at the Council on Energy, Environment and Water. First of all, I'm grateful to the organizers, SFOC and KIEP, for giving me an opportunity to present our research on green hydrogen. May I have the slide deck on screen, please? To those of you who don't know CEEW, we are a not-for-profit policy research institution based out of New Delhi. In fact, we are located 3 kilometers from this venue here. We work across 16 focus areas, all related to energy, environment, and water. So we work on transformations where we aim to solve for very difficult issues, legacy issues related to power sector, related to industrial sector, for example. We also work on quality of life. This is something that impacts all of us. So So we work on clean air, sustainable mobility, sustainable food systems, for example. And to address the problems in the first two verticals, we have a third vertical which is on enablers, where we primarily work on sustainable finance, technology futures, etc. Currently, we are a team of around 380 plus researchers, and we have worked in more than 20 states in India. Now, since the topic is moving green hydrogen from policies to projects, the presentation is broadly divided into two parts. Where in the first part, I'll present some key findings from a report that we authored with MNRE. This is on augmenting the National Green Hydrogen Mission. And in the practice part, we'll look at, there's only one slide on practice part where we'll look at the key insights from the green ammonia auctions, recently. And if you look here, I think all of us know that there's a National Green Hydrogen Mission and there's a green hydrogen or green ammonia policy which was launched by the Ministry of Power. Now, in addition to these two policies, there are 12 states in India that are providing some kind of benefits to green hydrogen projects, either through state level policy. For example, Rajasthan and Maharashtra, they have state level green hydrogen policy where they are giving some kind of benefits to green hydrogen projects. There are other states like Madhya Pradesh, for example, that is giving some kind of benefits to green hydrogen projects through their renewable energy policy. And then there are states like Tamil Nadu or Gujarat that are giving, or even Odisha, that are giving some benefits to green hydrogen projects through their industrial policy, right? And when we started with research, the objective was twofold. First, we wanted to understand what is the nature of support that these state level policies are extending to green hydrogen production in their respective states. That's the first objective. And the second objective was to quantify that NJHM has a total support of around $2.4 billion. But if we do a sum total of all benefits which are available in these 12 states, what is that number that we are reaching at, correct? So those are the two broader research questions that we wanted to answer. And the next two slides basically answer those questions, right? So if you look at, here what we have shown, I don't think the slides are visible, but here what we have shown across rows is the kind of support that state level green hydrogen policies are offering to green hydrogen projects. And this support we have basically quantified into two parts. The first is the power related support. For example, some states might waive some open access charges related to green hydrogen for green hydrogen projects. So those are quantified. And the second is non-power related support. So for example, some state might be offering a 30% capital subsidy on green hydrogen projects. So that is quantified under non-power related support. And what we have indicated on columns are the 12 states. So we are starting from Gujarat and we are going all the way till Madhya Pradesh. And the green boxes, they are basically, where these state level green hydrogen policies have some kind of support. So if you look at Tamil Nadu, which is, I think, Tamil Nadu, for example, which is on third column, it is having some support for, it is offering some capital subsidy related to green hydrogen projects. So it's indicated in green here, right? And I'll not get into details of what kind of support each state is offering, but let's look broadly what is happening here. So if you look at Odisha, for example, it is offering 3 rupees power rebate on DISCOM charges for power which is used for the production of green hydrogen. This is Odisha, one example. I'm not getting into all kind of support that Odisha is offering. If we look at Maharashtra, for example, it is offering 100% electricity duty waivers, which is a power related support again. If we look at Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, they are offering some kind of waivers on wheeling charges of electricity, which is again used for the production of green hydrogen in green hydrogen projects. If we look at non-power related support, Tamil Nadu and Gujarat, they offer significant support. For example, Gujarat is offering interest rate subvention on green hydrogen projects through its Atmanirbhar Gujarat policy. Tamil Nadu is offering, capital subsidy for green hydrogen projects, right? Uttar Pradesh, again, it is offering, significant money for R&D. Rajasthan is offering, significant money for skill development as well, right? Now, what we wanted to do is, if we consider all these benefits that various state governments are giving to green hydrogen projects, what is the sum cumulative that we are looking at, and what is the sum of benefit which is available across each state? So this here, and we have validated these numbers with almost all states that have released their green hydrogen policy. The sum total of the monetary support that these 12 state governments are giving to green hydrogen projects is around $61 billion. $61 billion is about 5 lakh crore. NGHM, we are thinking there's 2.4 billion or 19,000 crore of support which is available. Across these 12 state governments, the sum total is 5 lakh crore. And, and this amount of support is available for green hydrogen projects. So if there's a demand, any project developer can go and avail the support which is there. And I don't want to get into comparing which state is offering how much of support. But if you look at Odisha, for example, the total support that the state is offering for green hydrogen projects is around 1.2 lakh crore. It's a significant number. Maharashtra is offering a support of around 80,000 crore. This is sum total of both power and non-power related support which is available across state level green hydrogen policies. And other state governments also, the supports numbers are indicated. $61 billion, I don't think any other country internationally is offering that kind of support for green hydrogen projects. And if we get into what is the kind of support which is available, and here on the right hand side you can see that there are two colors. There's a green color which indicates the support which is available in the form of power related aspects, and the blue color indicates the support which is available for non-power related aspects. Power related aspects are about 3 lakh crore, which is around 60% of the total support which is available for green hydrogen projects across all 12 states that we have considered in the assessment. And a significant share, which is around 1 lakh crore of support, is available for power tariff rebate, and there is around 90,000 crore of support which is available for electricity duty waivers. And then there are other components also which are indicated there. When it comes to non-power related support, capital subsidy, Odisha, for example, I think most people here might know, is offering 30% capital subsidy for green hydrogen projects in the state. Tamil Nadu is also giving some subsidy for green hydrogen projects. Capital subsidy alone is around 1.3 lakh crore, some cumulative across all 12 states in India, right? So that is the kind of support which is available for green hydrogen projects in India. And we will see what is the consequence of these support which is available when we start talking about practice, which is basically looking into green ammonia auctions. And I have only one slide to present here. What this slide shows is on the y-axis the landed cost of imported grey ammonia in India, and on the x-axis we have the data is available only for the past 5-6 years on a monthly or a quarterly basis. So we have considered the past 5 or 6 years here, right? The key thing is, if you look at the landed price of imported ammonia, before pandemic, it was around 300, the lowest was around $291 a ton. But ballpark before pandemic, the price was around $340 a ton, average landed price. And after the pandemic, it peaked to around $1,400 a ton. That is like an anomaly. I don't think that is going to happen again. But after which the prices have again started reducing. And now the stable prices are around $500 a ton, right? The key thing here is the gray line which is drawn, the straight line, which shows the weighted average landed cost of imported ammonia in India, which is around $676 per ton. This is 5 years weighted average landed price here, right? So $676 a ton. What we show here in green, the green bar, it basically indicates the range of green ammonia auction prices in India, which ranges from $566 to around $737 per ton, correct? But if the most important thing is to look at the dark green bar, which is the weighted average price of green ammonia auctions in India, which is around $606 per ton, right? So the weighted average price of imported grey ammonia is around 676. The weighted average price of the green ammonia auctions is around $606 per ton, which means green ammonia, if you look at the prices over the past 5 years, is already commercially viable, right? That is the key message from this slide. Now, somebody might say that, currently the price of imported ammonia, which is indicated there, is around $530, $540 per ton, which means that, green ammonia is not commercially viable, right? There are two arguments to counter that particular argument. The first is, look at the two extremities here. Before pandemic, the price was around $340 a ton, average ballpark price. After pandemic, the average price of imported ammonia is around $550 a ton, $500 to $520 a ton, which means in the past 5 years, the settled price of grey ammonia has increased by around 50%, right? That is the first major observation here, and we don't know, I'm not saying that this trend will continue in the future, but there is definitely a structural shift in the prices of imported ammonia internationally. That is the first point. The second point is, these imported ammonia contracts, they are normally in dollars denominated, right? So those are in dollars. And if you look at the past 10 years, what has happened on an average, the dollar has appreciated at a rate of 3 to 3.3% every year. So that is the CAGR that we are looking at, which means if this trend continues for the next 10 years, every year in rupee term, we are going to pay 3 to 3.3% more, a higher price for imported ammonia, which means there is definitely an inflationary pressure which is also coming in, right? That is the second point. And finally, for a developing country like India, what we need is a stability in the energy prices. Basically, we need the dark gray or the dark green line, and not the gray line, which keeps on fluctuating internationally due to geopolitical factors, right? So that is the third argument as to why India should be more aggressive when it comes to at least offsetting our imports of ammonia internationally. These, and everything that I presented and, everything which I presented are available on our website. You can go through our website, CEEW.in, and you can read all the reports and which we have published so far. Everything is in public domain. And if you find any mistakes or if you have any comments to make, do write to me and I'll be happy to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Mr. Deepak Yadav. And our third speaker is Dr. Sudheshna Moka, who is former scientist in hydrogen storage, Shri Ram Institute for Industrial Research. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this time. So I worked as a scientist in green energy lab in hydrogen, especially in the hydrogen storage. Right now, I'm on a career break for family reasons and looking for next assignments. So I have worked for 5 years in this area of hydrogen storage, and I have also attended a lot of conferences, gained good amount of knowledge across not just hydrogen storage, but across the value chain. Yeah, I think everybody here knows why we are looking at hydrogen. Apart from the obvious reasons, I would also like to highlight the fact that there are certain problems here, like though it's very highest energy content per mass, its energy content per volume is very low. It's a very light gas, so it occupies huge amount of volume. So hydrogen storage is a huge challenge when it comes to hydrogen. Transporting and storing hydrogen becomes a huge challenge here. So that was the reason why I had chosen to work in that area. And we all know that the carbon emissions, it produces only water when combusted, and it's a renewable and sustainable in nature. And there are different ways we can generate green hydrogen. Established routes are there. I just skip this. And one good thing about hydrogen is the flexibility that it offers. Like we all know that renewable energy sources are intermittent in nature. Like solar energy is available only during the day. Wind energy we can generate only when there's ample amount of wind, and other such reasons. So it's intermittent, like it's going up and down. So when we generate renewable energy and use that energy to generate hydrogen through electrolysis or other routes, then we can store hydrogen and use that as a constant energy supply without any variation in the supply, rate of supply. So that is one good advantage. And also, like renewable energy is available in plenty in different areas, whereas the point of need of hydrogen is in different areas. So instead of transmitting the renewable energy, we can generate hydrogen at the point of renewable energy sources and transport the hydrogen and use it in different places. So it offers the flexibility for energy sources. And so we can use hydrogen to decarbonize the hard to abate industries like cement, steel and ammonia. And right now I think for transportation, we are looking at long range transport for heavy trucks and all these. And also long duration energy storage. Without much losses, we can store energy when we store it in the form of hydrogen. now, we are all aware of the National Green Hydrogen Mission in India, and I'd like to just focus on a few things. The overall objective is to make India the global hub for hydrogen production, storage, usage and export, not just hydrogen but also its derivatives. So the biggest, I think for the industry also, the biggest challenge is to ensure that there is a good amount and constant demand, so that before jumping into large scale production, we have to ensure that there is a good amount of demand there. So demand creation is one of the first targets for this hydrogen mission, both for domestic as well as exports. So there were several programs that were launched. Already Dr. Deepak Yadav has mentioned about the different programs, pilot projects as well as industrial scale projects which have started off under this mission. Now, both for manufacturing of electrolyzers and for green hydrogen production, there is incentivized scheme wherein 17,490 crores have been invested. In pilot projects especially, the low carbon steel projects, around 455 crores have been dedicated. So since this program is mainly aiming for the steel industry, so quite a bit amount of investment has gone into the low carbon steel in India. And if we look at MNRE website, there is a NGHM portal which gives all the information about the different projects that are going on. We can go and see even the stage at which each project is. So GAIL as well as NTPC, even Vizag, HPCL, lot of new projects. Some are in commission stage, some are in the planning, some are in active. So we can go to the NGHM portal and see the different projects, different industries, and how much capacity they are planning to produce hydrogen and things like that. So we can make use of it's a public available information, so I have not added much information here. But one who is interested can go and check that out. So there are also support for projects in mobility, shipping, and other areas like biomass to hydrogen. This route, I think it's very important for India because a lot of rural areas with biomass availability is there, and the thermochemical as well as enzymatic routes for conversion of biomass to hydrogen. A lot of good work is done by IISc, Professor Dasappa, and based on the work, I think a few industries have also come up recently, especially in the north. So good amount of progress is there even in this zone. Now, green hydrogen hubs which have been very successful in Europe and US, we are also trying to implement that in India. I think there are 4 such hydrogen hubs in India. They have launched one in NCL Pune. Pune Knowledge Center is leading that hydrogen hub. Likewise, IIT Jodhpur and others also. So different, they are focusing on based on the region, location, what are the strengths, like what are the, maybe there's a coastline and we can make use of the winds, and or maybe there is ample amount of sunlight. So based on the strengths, the amount of renewable and the type of renewable energy that can be generated, some products which can come out of that hub. So different industry partners, academic partners are pulling in to come up with a few products which can go through the entire stage of the entire value chain. Like right from R&D, there are some industries or academic institutes which support with the R&D that is required, and some which do the testing and certification and all that, and others which can produce at large scale and then deploy them for test runs and things like that, and then look for, so both the demand as well as the supply is met in that hub. To ensure that this entire value chain is sort of simulated in that hub. So I think it's at a nascent stage in India. The projects have just launched, and we are yet to see the achievements come out, and we are hopeful that some good amount of outcomes are going to come out of these hubs. So there are specific targets, like when we talk about national energy transition, we need to talk about the specific targets. So I think India's ambitions, very huge ambitions of, we want to create 5 MMT of green hydrogen by 2030, like 5 MMT per year, and that would require 60 to 100 gigawatt electrolyzer installations. And we also need the renewable energy generation in order to support the electrolyzers. So 125 gigawatts of renewable energy. It will also create 6 lakh new jobs, and the amount of carbon abatement will be around 50 MMT, which is quite huge. So with these huge targets, the NGHM has launched several projects, and it's quite positive that we can achieve these targets. Now, I think when it comes to the other components, like these are pilot projects and green hydrogen hubs. Other than that, the enabling policy framework, I'm not much into policy, but I think Dr. Deepak Yadav has given a good amount of information on the policy related. When it comes to infrastructure development, the pipelines, tankers, intermediate storage facilities, all these still have to be developed in India. It's not yet there in place, but I think some background work is going on. Now, when it comes to regulations and standards, PISO and BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, they are working. They have already brought out a lot of standards for hydrogen storage also. Like whether it is material-based storage or compressed gas storage, there are different standards available, and all these are available on PISO website or on BIS websites, and also on the NGHM website. At the portal, there is a link for regulations and standards, so we can go and look. So if anyone is anyone wants to manufacture these kind of infrastructure or cylinders and all that, we can look at the standards. And R&D is one important component in any energy transition system. So and skill development and international collaboration, of course. And since I am a scientist, okay, I will talk more about the R&D component. So when there is still a lot of R&D that needs to be done. So when it comes to electrolyzers, I think the efficiency and durability, they still need to be improved. There's going to be a challenge when it comes to the materials. So we need to decrease the amount of precious metals that are being used, and also increase the efficiency with using non-precious metals. Now, suppose the efficiency of electrolyzers in another country like Switzerland or some other country, it may be very high over there, but the environmental factors here will be very different, like high humidity is there and high pollution is there, and these factors can also affect the efficiency of electrolyzers, and these have to be kept in mind. It makes it difficult for us to compare the efficiencies. Now, since I have worked in storage, I'd like to just give a little idea. There, actually materials, these are the different kinds of storage. One is the compressed gaseous state, solid state, and liquid state. In liquid state, it is compressed to cryogenic temperatures and stored as a liquid, but we will need very highly insulated tanks and cylinders, specialized containers to store hydrogen in liquid state. Gaseous stage, we already know this. The industry is already ready to take up this kind of high pressure, so there are standards available, and it is moving fast. But when it comes to solid state, it's still at a nascent stage. It is an R&D stage, but it is much safer because the pressure at which we store hydrogen in solid state systems is much less. Like sometimes it's only just 1 bar, and maximum up to 35 bar we can store hydrogen, and the safety is self-built into these systems. So I would like to promote solid state storage, but yeah, it's still in R&D stage. Like I have shown here, IIT Bombay has recently come up with a patent. They have designed 1 kg hydrogen storage cylinder based on metal hydrides. There are few disadvantages, like it's a bit heavy. For 1 kg of storage, it's slightly a heavy system, but it's much safer. And similarly, IIT Madras and even the Sri Ram Institute, where I come from, the still work is going on over there. IIT Madras also has graphene-based hydrogen storage cylinder. So these kind of things, they are there, but somebody has to pick it up and start commercializing it and producing it at large scale. So these are some of the industrially available products I have just shown here. Yeah, challenges, when I have worked in that, these are the challenges that I have come across. Manufacturing, testing and certification of cylinders, there is a huge gap when it comes to these. Even there are small components, not just the huge cylinder, but small components like the valves and pipes and all these need to be tested and certified, and for that we need standards. So BIS is working, but there's still a lot more work to be done. Some other countries like US and Germany, it's much more mature over there. So all the R&D, even if it's happening here, but the cylinders are sent to either Germany or US, there it is tested and certified and brought back. So we need to move to the next stage in order to establish these kind of centers of excellence and start testing and certifying these products in the country. So one last thing that I wanted to tell, because when doing R&D, I tried to incorporate a lot of safety there. We had set up in a lab where there's a fume hood which can start exhausting the gas. So if there is a sensor which detects very low levels of hydrogen. So if there is a leak, it's immediately sensed, and immediately the exhaust system is either switched on if it is switched off at that time, or if it is, the draft is very low, the speed of the draft is increased in response to the sensor. So there is a hydrogen leak, immediately the exhaust system, the speed of exhaust is increased, or it is switched on if it was off. So these kind of systems, I have particularly worked with the furniture people and designed these kind of things. But I also had difficulty in drawing the lines. See, we can use flame-proof switches and flame-proof wires and all these things, but there again we'll need other components also need to be flame-proof, and all these things are not available. So lot of time I had to spend in searching for where these components are there, whether they're available and how to integrate them. But where to draw the line and say that, okay, this much safety is okay. Beyond that, I'm not going to look for it, and I'm going to start my R&D work. So that was a challenge that I have faced. So I think when we move to TRL, higher TRL levels and go to industrial level production and all that, the safety, how we are going to implement, at what stage, how much safety is a must. These are the things. I think there is a knowledge gap over there. And even when I was doing R&D in the lab, I got a lot of inputs, like whether it can be commercialized and produced at large scale. So our chairman will sit with us and ask questions which will force us to think that, okay, not this material, not that process and all that. So I think this kind of system is not there much in the R&D ecosystem in India, wherein heavy input from the industry side and production side comes in, and even the safety systems are built in right from the concept stage in R&D. I think as a researcher, these are my inputs, and other things you're all already aware, so I'm going to just skip it. I have seen IKST, Indo-Korean Science and Technology, they're already doing a lot of good work and publications in hydrogen storage and other areas of hydrogen. I think we can keep up the good work and keep building on that. We already have a good amount of collaboration with Korea, and look forward to more such collaborations and industrial trade and all. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Moka, for your inspiring remarks. And last but not least, Mr. Yeongmin Kweon, who is a researcher at Steel Team at Solutions for Our Climate, will join us by online in Seoul.
Yep, so Hello, my name is Yeongmin, Kweon, and I'm working in the steel team at SFC. And it would have been great if I could physically attend this event, but so I'm sorry for it, and thank you for having me. So today I'm going to talk about green hydrogen for industrial decarbonization, with particular focus on steel industry in South Korea. So why green hydrogen? I believe this is why we are gathered here today, and everyone agrees with why it's important. So I don't want to spend much time. But one thing for sure is that it's been getting attention, a huge attention for the last couple of years, and the main reason is its potential to make the sustainable future as a part of decarbonization solutions. And I want to talk a bit about the current status of Korean steel industry. So South Korea has the sixth largest in crude steel production, although it's less than half of that from India, but it's still a lot. And because of this, steel industry is the largest industrial carbon emitter in South Korea. As you can see on the right side, it's about 30% of industrial emissions in Korea, which at the same time accounts for about 17% of national emissions. And it's not in the slides, but Korea also has huge demand sector industries of steel, such as automotive, construction, shipbuilding, and etc. So decarbonization of steel is kind of a national task. But it's such a relief that the steel industry is now figuring out the solution with hydrogen. It's hydrogen-based direct reduced ion, or H2DRI, which uses hydrogen for oxygen reduction from iron ore. And currently, the steelmaking process is in blast furnace with more than 2 tons of carbon dioxide per ton of steel. But with the H2DRI, the carbon intensity can be near zero if green hydrogen is used. So now South Korea is developing the basic technology and plans to produce 0.3 million tons of H2DRI steel in 2030. And I feel like it's just around the corner. But however, I see some problems in our national policies. The very first one is the absence of detailed plans for industrial use. The table on the right side is the sector hydrogen roadmap in our national hydrogen master plan. But as you can see, the roadmap is more focused on power and transportation sector. And for the industries, there's no midterm demand predictions, no clear targets, no specific milestones. And it's just saying that hydrogen can be used here and there. And the biggest problem is that it's known that about 90 kilograms of hydrogen will be needed to make 1 ton of steel. But if it's the case, then about 27,000 tons of hydrogen is needed in 2030, which is pretty easy to calculate, but there is no estimation in the hydrogen roadmap. And the another problem is the lack of support for green hydrogen utilization. So many countries support green hydrogen production through subsidies, tax credits, and CFD, which stands for Contracts for Difference. You can see the list of cases in the world on the right side. So the global steel makers are securing green hydrogen supply
You can
chain.
address, so Mr. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm Commodore Samadar. My question is to Dr. Sudheshna. In the Navy, we have these submarines, and they use battery systems, and all those battery systems emit hydrogen. So we have a fair amount of experience in the submarine building, where Korea is a champion today, in being able to detect even very microscopic amounts of hydrogen in these compartments. So maybe some of those sensors you can have a look at. And this is now established technologies for many years. That's one. The second part of it is, of course, on hydrogen that you spoke about, water. Now there are new technologies, and I represent some technologies on that, where we can use all sorts of water to create at 3 Siemens level of water requirements for electrolyzers. And that is now linked up to 2 other technologies, which is linked to solar photovoltaic thermal and to waste heat recovery. So you are able to integrate waste heat recovery with wastewater to produce 3 Siemens worth of micro Siemens quality water. So these are 2 observations which can keep in this room to develop the sector before. The reason water becomes important is I don't think in any community people are going to allow you to use groundwater to make hydrogen. I don't think that is happening. So we'll have to use wastewater, and the technologies for conversion of wastewater using waste heat to make green hydrogen is even better because the costs come down substantially. The second part of it is from the electrolyzer itself, the waste heat recovery that you can get is enough for you to power these systems. I'm happy to discuss this later on, but these are just some comments for this forum.
Yes.
Thank you.
So now we will move on to session 2, which is bridging policy and practice scaling green hydrogen for the green steel supply chain. This session will focus on the critical task of translating high-level policy dialogue into concrete industrial collaboration, with particular attention to building a resilient green steel supply chain through green hydrogen. Mr. Naveen Ashwat, who is joining us online.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and thanks for giving this opportunity. So I have a short presentation, maybe which I can complete within 5 minutes, and then happy to take any questions from the audience. So I think this everybody is aware that the fight against the climate call. This is super important. Everybody is fighting for this cause of maintaining 1.5 degrees centigrade. But I think what is important is on the right hand side, where we clearly see an impact of not performing or not taking action at this point of time on the GDP. That is super important because people have this basically strategy of wait and watch. I think that is no more going to work. That it is a time where we have to start taking actions. Those maybe a small incremental change, but the change is required. So you can clearly see on the right hand side that it clearly have basically the output of a non-performing at this point of time. It clearly shows an impact on the GDP because of the flood, because of the high heat, which directly have the impact on the productivity of the people they are working. So all these factors are having a clear impact on the GDP. Steel, I think the previous speakers, talk about this, that steel is basically super important if we have to really accelerate the decarbonization or start accelerating decarbonization. Then steel, cement, aluminium, they basically fall under hard to abate sector, and they are the one which have to do the maximum heavy lifting. So if you see here, this graph clearly shows that the 72% of the steel production world over, it is happening through BF and BF route, right? And this contribute 95% of the overall emission. 6% of the steel production, it is being done by DRI electric arc furnace, which is actually, basically going to be the future ready solution for all the integrated steel makers as we move forward, because this route, DRI electric arc furnace route, will have the maximum ability to reduce the carbon intensity, because we'll start doing the transition from, let's say, from the low carbon emission hydrogen to the finally converging into the green hydrogen. And then electric arc furnace route with the recycled scrap, that is 2% right now world over, basically contribution to the greenhouse emissions, and this only forms 22% of the steel production. So if you see here, I think the key takeaway from this slide is that the conventional steel making process, BF and BF route, this is the main steel making process, and this is where it is contributing the maximum basically emission that is happening, and this is where we have to apply our brain, and this is where various strategies all the integrated steel producer they are making, that how we can reduce the carbon intensity. Starting from the short medium term, that is short basically or immediate or the near term solution, that is the deployment of energy efficiencies, operation excellence, and the renewable energy. This is the quickest of the solution that majorly all the steel makers they are busy with. Medium term is definitely scrap is one of the solution that is going to definitely help us to reduce our carbon intensity, coupled with carbon capture utilization, use of biochar, some biofuels, and long term definitely will be a transition from the low carbon hydrogen to the green hydrogen as we move forward. I'm sorry. Yeah. Now you see here, we at Jindal Steel Limited, basically we are focusing on four main pillars. How we can reduce our CO2 minimization. So minimize CO2 at the source. That we are doing, we are already basically running the world's only coal gasification based DRI product, one of the cleanest way of manufacturing steel. However, there is definitely it has to be coupled with carbon capture utilization, because the CO2 that is coming out from this value chain, it is highly concentrated. It is basically captured CO2 which we can valorize and utilize downstream to make various chemicals and mineralogical, maybe precipitated calcium carbonate, or we can make sustainable aviation fuel, ethanol. Wide range of chemicals can be manufactured from this. Then the resource utilization, this is also super important. How we can basically make our ecosystem steel value chain in such a way where we optimize the resource. We try to avoid import, as the previous speaker also said. How we can have the overall ecosystem near to our plant, so that we have the minimum scope 3 emission happening across our value chain. And also how we can use our indigenous iron ore and coal basically to use in our value chain. Third is pellet feed in the blast furnace. That is also important. If we have to really accelerate decarbonization, then the pellet feed, we have to maximize. We are using right now pellet feed to the blast furnace, but how we can maximize it, that is where we are working. Zero waste approach, this is super important. How we convert waste to wealth, and how to use basically valorize the low temperature calorie heat, the high temperature calorie heat, and also all the slag that is coming out from our plant to make it to cement, or to make it in road making. So many things that we are busy in our company. Avoidance, how we can avoid CO2, that is I think the best strategy to minimize CO2, because there are some inherent chemical reactions process where you cannot basically avoid CO2. You can minimize CO2, but there are ways where you can completely avoid it. That is basically we are already running one zero power furnace in our Raigad plant. There it is a zero power, so this is complete CO2 avoidance. Recovery, I already spoken about this. Valorize all the off gases, heat recovery from our slag. And renewable energy, one of the easiest and the fastest way where we can reduce our carbon intensity by 15 to 20%. This is going to be one of the quick levers that we are busy at our group. We are already busy putting up 1.5 gigawatt of solar power plant in Bikaner, Rajasthan. This plant will be up and running by middle of next year, exactly this time. And also 900 megawatt of wind power in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Right, and apart from this, round the clock electricity, we are exploring various ways basically to basically put a hydropower plant, and also our forays into the nuclear power as well, where we are right now busy basically qualifying so many lands, because as we move forward, Bharat small modular reactor are going to definitely take a lot of traction as we move forward, because it is clean, round the clock electricity and very cheap. And the life span of the plant, it is close to 60 odd years. So very important for us as a steel maker to harness the nuclear power as we move forward. Maximizing the basically hydrogen. So in our existing coal gasification based DRI plant, our endeavor right now is to how we can maximize hydrogen. So it is basically making green hydrogen and pushing that green hydrogen into the DRI furnace. Then circularity is also super important, because the captured CO2, as I said, we already have the 3000 tons plus captured CO2. How to use that CO2 back into our furnace? So converting this CO2 into CO, where we are doing a very basically innovative work along with Ministry of Steel and IIT Bombay, where we are going to reduce the CO2 to CO at the ambient temperature. One of the game-changing technology on which we are working. CO electrolysis, the co-electrolysis, as we say, it is also super important, where the captured CO2 in an electrolytic cell can be mixed with the steam, and the syngas that is going to come out from the resultant from the electrolytic cell, that will be called as a blue syngas, and that syngas can be used back into our DRI furnace or into the reheaters. Then the carbon capture utilization, I already spoken about it. A very, very important lever for us. We already have 3,000 ton plus captured CO2. So how to use it in multiple purposes, from chemicals to the biological way, to the chemicals, fuel way, bioethanol. That is where we are working, and I think we'll be able to give a very positive news in next 6 to 7 odd months, where we will have, I think, we have this approach of forming clusters at our site, co-locating the clusters along with our plant, and this will be the, I think, the world's basically only cluster that can come very fast, and within our target is to do this by 2032 and try to valorize. Capturing is already happening, but try to utilize the CO2 into various purpose. Then this is basically the levers that I've already spoken about, from short to medium to long term. Right now the focus is circularity, efficiency, renewable power. Very easy, good to go. From the medium to long term, it will be the low carbon emission, hydrogen, carbon capture utilization, and fuel switch. And this is the value chain that I have already spoken, that how from mines to metal, as we say, from mines to where the action is already happening, from the mines, the deployment of the mobility, the electric trucks, to our main iron ore making, steel making, use of renewable energy, use of bio-coal, carbon capture utilization, and downstream. Downstream also, scope 3, though it forms close to 10 to 15% of our overall emission intensity. But this is going to be basically the toughest one to crack as we move forward. Scope 1, 2, it is in our hand. But scope 3, we are dependent on so many stakeholders, from our customers to our supplier partners, and basically decarbonizing that part of the value chain, supply chain, is going to be toughest. But there are levers available where circularity is going to play an important role. Plus the exports, where we are doing exports, where we can use low carbon emission ammonia, methanol in the ship, because that is also going to catch up quite soon. Because as per the IMO, they have already made 5% mixing of low carbon emission methanol mandatory. So this is a big mandate, and also the pull coming from the market to really start using basically this low carbon emission methanol. And this is, hydrogen is definitely going to be a, important lever, enabler to reduce our carbon intensity. And you see here across the value chain, from power generation, how we can optimize the mix, the energy mix between solar, wind, is an important thing, where, is a key decision making, where we are busy with. Electrical infrastructure, connectivity is definitely, the long duration energy storage is also the area where we have to, because if we in our steel plant, we have the continuous steel plants, we need round the clock electricity. So long duration energy storage can definitely also play an important role, along with nuclear to hydro power. Electrolyzers, we have different technologies, alkaline to PEM to SOEC. We are bullish on SOEC, but we have to also basically right now busy putting up the phase 1 5 megawatt plant that will be commissioned in next 2 months, and then adding another 25 or megawatt of electrolyzer capacity that will be commissioned by middle of next year. So we are quite bullish on uses of green hydrogen. Maybe we are doing it in phases, but it is super important that we do this, commission it, because getting the data, the synchronization of renewable power with electrolyzer, and then electrolyzer to our DRI plant, all this is important, and you have to do it in phases. Try to get the data, do the optimization, value optimization, energy optimization, and then scale this thing up to 25 megawatt to 30 to 100 megawatt. The last is the hydrogen storage. I think this is also super important. Hydrogen storage, from aquifers to the above surface storage to the below surface storage, that is also the decision that has to be part of the overall value chain. Along with this, I think I have spoken about the challenges, but then there is also the work that is going, what we say, the work in progress is already going on. What is important here are three important things. First is the partnership. That is super important. The collaboration, long-term association with the hydrogen developers, with the upstream solar and the wind developers. That is also important, because we are steel makers. We know how to produce steel, how to do it effectively at a cost competitive level, how to sell it. But then there is also the interfacing, the alignment that has to be done on the upstream side in terms of the developers from the renewable energy side plus the hydrogen developer side. So this is collaboration is an important thing that we need to work on. Second is the availability of the high grade iron ore pellets. This is also super important because if we have to really aim for low carbon emission steel, green steel, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star steel, we have to focus on the high grade iron ore, and that is where the pelletization, the beneficiation has to play an important role. Plus, the last point is about again the collaboration with the technology partners. So technology is available. So if someone is saying that technology is not available to make low carbon emission green steel, technology is available. We need to, because there's so much of bunching that is happening up because so many plants are going to come in next 10 to 15 odd years. So your association with the technology partners and EPC contractors are going to play a super important role, because if you don't have, if you are a fly by night operator, you appear only once in a decade, then I think there will be an impact of close to 2 to 3 years on your overall project schedule if you don't have the good collaboration and partnership with your EPC or technology partner. So this is, I think, one of the, one of the positive is that, most of our supplier partners, and automobile is one of them, that why automobile guys have realized that using the low carbon emission green steel will really help them to reduce also, because their scope 3 emission is the steel that they are taking from us. That forms 85 to 90% of their overall emissions, right? And that is where you see here, a car, lifetime emission from a car is close to 11.5 tons. Out of that, from the aluminium, it is close to 4 tons. 2.2 tons normally come from steel, because in a car, we normally use close to a ton of steel. And then the 5.4 tons come from the battery and plastic. Then they did a lot of diagnosis, and they found out that green aluminium, low carbon emission aluminium, it is way to go. It will take some time to really get the real low carbon emission aluminium coming in the market. So as for the batteries and plastics. So the best lever for them to really start doing this transition or start accelerating the transition is to use the low carbon emission. And that's why the demand of low carbon emission, it is being led by all the automobile majors, including Mercedes to Volkswagen, Porsche, Ford. All these guys are leading the race, and they are the demand creators.
Mr. Ahlawat?
And this is the overall demand. Apart from from India, we also have so much of demand coming from Europe. By 2030, we clearly see 100 million ton of green steel / low carbon emission demand coming. It is good for us as the Indian manufacturer to tap this demand, apart from the demand that we are going to have from India via 3-star, 4-star, 5-star categories or by CCTS. So there's a huge pull that is coming from the market, and it is up to us how we sort of take this opportunity to really accelerate that decarbonization, plus also enable our customers to start the decarbonization.
Mr. Ahlawat?
And this is a very simple analogy that why automobile guys, appliances and wind, it is easy to really accelerate this demand of low carbon emission steel, because the incremental cost for a customer like you and me, suppose we are buying a car or washing machine made from green steel or low carbon emission steel, the incremental money or that will go from our pocket, it is hardly 1%. So that's why it is very easy to really, there's a positive signals coming from the market, from the final consumers, and that is where the clear demand is coming. And this is where the top, if we have to really segregate segregate the pecking order of the overall demand, then the auto, appliances and wind, they are the one who are the demand creator in next 7 to 8 odd years. So friends, it is not a walk in a park. I think it is easier said than done. Even for 10 kilos of reduction in the carbon intensity, there's a massive heavy lifting that has to be done, right? But I think, as I said in the first slide, we have to prepare ourselves and we have to start doing this transition, because it is time to act now. If we will not act now, Gone are the days where it is a wait and watch policy. We have to start taking the incremental changes, because if we take the changes now, then the real, when we have to go for a mass deployment, that can only happen after 4, 5 to 6 years. So that's why it is time we start now, because that is how we have to start preparing and warming ourselves. Thank you so much, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Naveen Ahlawat. I would like to introduce Mr. Samir Saxena, who is Vice President of Engineering Green Hydrogen Business in Renew. Please give us a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you very much, KIEP, for inviting me. And I would like to thank the previous presenters, Dr. Neelima, Dr. Prasad, Dr. Chow, and many other colleagues who gave very insightful information as part of their presentation. So I will try to be very brief and crisp, just to finish the things in time. So may I have the presentation on the screen, please? Yeah, okay, great. Fine. So a brief introduction about my organization. I'm Samir Saxena, Head of Engineering for the Green Hydrogen Business. Renew is an organization who is into the IPP business. That is basically the for supply of the green energy. We are one of the largest green power supplier in the country. We have, both the wind and the solar and the hydro assets accumulating to about 13 gigawatt. We have about 7 gigawatt of assets under development, and we hope that it will be operational in maybe next couple of years. So our journey started in 2011, wherein, this company was founded by Mr. Suman Sinha. And since then, we have made significant progress and got a unique spot in renewable energy sector. While we are big in the renewable energy, we are equally, giving importance to the decarbonization through the green molecule. And we have been working on green hydrogen, green ammonia, and green methanol projects for the last 3 years. We have a couple of very mature projects currently in Odisha state. We are carrying out the pre-engineering of the green ammonia, which is good for the supply to the Europe and Southeast Asian countries, including Japan and Korea. We have been very actively participating in CFD schemes, which have been launched in Japan and in Korea, and working very closely with our partners in those regions. So I'm just skipping a couple of last slides in the interest of the time. We have very close association with the global companies. In utilities, we have association with SECI and TPC, Mahavirtan Technologies. We are into the Microsoft association with Amazon, Toyota, Suzuki, and international players. Similarly, we have business partners like IOCL, L&T. We have the joint venture GH2I, Green Hydrogen for India, which is a collaboration of L&T, which are very big in EPC, IOCL, who are very large in plant operations, and we, who are the renewable energy producers. So it's a very win-win combination, which is helping the country to get decarbonized. Can you please show the next presentation? So this is the glimpse of the various projects, which we are conceiving with respect to the green molecules. As I mentioned to you, in India, we have a large presence in Odisha state. Apart from that, we have ambition to increase our footprint globally. Right from United States, where we are conducting a couple of studies to understand how is the green market there, if it makes sense to produce green ammonia in USA. With some change in the policies in USA, it might hit back, but still we are conducting some studies to see whether it makes sense. We are also having presence in Europe, wherein we are targeting the green ammonia production as well as the SAF production. We also have interest in Morocco and Egypt and Oman. As you know, they are the large green electron producers, right? And they see those region to supply green molecules to the neighboring countries like Europe and other places, right? So this is the footprint we have globally. So we are leveraging Renew's tested round-the-clock RE solution. We being the RE player, we see a great synergy between the renewable energy and the green molecule because they are integrated. And we see that because of our expertise in renewable energy will probably help in optimizing the cost for the green molecule. Renew is very closely working with Korean companies. This is just a glimpse of the kind of association we have with Korean companies. We have been participating in the CHPS tenders, which is for basically, to supply green ammonia to the GENCOs in Korea. And through the KPE, which is a power aggregator in Korea. So as a part of that association, we have been engaging with several companies and several GENCOs like Covipo, Comipo, Cospo, Kweon, EWP. And we are working with many other aggregators such as Samsung, Lotte, and GS Energy, which are very, very renowned companies from Korea. Apart from that, we take pride in mentioning that, the KEE, which is Korea Energy Institute, they have awarded a certificate indicating that the product which is coming out of our Paradip project, the green ammonia project, it is, sort of verified with them. They have done the verification, they have done the certification to indicate that it meets all their requirement. And we are, the top 10 countries globally who have got such certification from KEEI, which is very reputed organization. Yeah. So this is a brief about, what Renew has been doing and how we have been closely working with many Korean companies. As far as decarbonization of steel is concerned, I think it can be done in three ways: through the, the green electrons, which you can probably use in the arc furnaces. You can use green molecule, hydrogen, to decarbonize the, the steel formation. And third, I believe, is the CO2 which is generated from this process, which can be captured and very suitably be used for making the synthetic fuels. We are in touch with a number of steel companies who are producing CO2, which is of very high quality, and currently being vented to atmosphere, which is a very significant emission. And we plan to capture that CO2 to make methanol. Our project, which we are developing, it is more export-oriented for the green methanol, because the demand of green methanol in India is very, very less. But as far as supply to the Europe is concerned, there is a bit of challenge. As per the RED or the Delegated Act, the CO2 from the steel plants can be considered only up to the 2041, which is about 12 to 13 years from now, right? And after that, it will not be meeting the RFNBO requirement. And we have been very aggressively, doing the advocacy that this term should be extended, because the source of biogenic CO2 are very, very limited. And if we have to really decarbonize the steel industry, we need, that CO2 to be used for much longer period. If it is for a very short period, probably the price of the methanol, green methanol, would be too high and will not get the marketplace. So we see plenty of opportunities through our system, the green power and the green molecule we produce to do the, the decarbonization of the steel industry. I will keep it very brief and short. I hope I conveyed the message. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saxena. So we are going to have questions and answer Q&A session. So if you have any questions.
Hi, I'm Vishal from WF India. My question is to Mr. Samir. In your vision for 2030, you have shown green hydrogen production not earmarked for any of the green steel areas. So do you envisage any challenge in that, or do you not see that market picking up?
No, I think it is not the case. See, it's a difficult market, right? for the use of green molecule, there has to be a business case, there has to be economics, right? And even today, if you see the tenders which happened very recently by SECI or the refinery tenders, they are of a very small capacity. And therein also, there are good support is coming from the government. Mr. Yadav presented, a lot of subsidies and the incentives are being given by the government. The fact remains that how long you continue to sustain on these incentives, right? So the idea is initially to trap the low-hanging fruits, right, which I see the fertilizer industry, refinery. Steel is a hard-to-abate sector, right? So once you have the mandate, probably it will force all such industries, to go for greening. And that is the time wherein, you will see a scale-up of the green hydrogen production, right? Because the demand comes from there. So I think it's a very gradual process. It is not that those sectors are neglected, but I think with time, as it makes more economic sense, they will surely come up.
Thank you. Any other questions?
My question is for Mr. Saxena. So I'm Simar Suri. I'm a lawyer and a business consultant. I work at Suri & Company. I'm an associate partner. And I also do strategic business advisory for Korean and Indian companies in various business streams, including green hydrogen and things. So I just wanted to know that your presentation had a lot of facts and figures about projected growth. But how do you feel that India and South Korea can work on critical policies to make this synergy viable? And what would we need in terms of bilateral policies to make this work? Because by 2030, if we're looking at meeting the demand of Korea with the supply from India, how do you think a policy change is necessary? Because that will spur industry. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think from the policy perspective, I can say that, ultimately, your policies have to support a business case, right? So a good part from Korea is that, they are not just sticking to the green molecule, which is very, very expensive, right? They have categorized in different stages, which defines the carbon emission content in it, right? And based on that, the pricing has been done. So to start with, I think this is a very good strategy and the policy wherein, if you categorize based on the carbon content, your pricing varies and probably you can choose the right developer or the right supplier who suits you the most, making your case more economically viable, right? So this, I think, is a good policy. Otherwise, I think so far, we find that the policies which have been developed in Korea, they are very, very conducive to get aligned with the Indian suppliers. Hope it answers. Thank you.
Hello, I am Prashant from OGC. My question is a larger question. I would like to put it to Dinesh. See, every time when we are producing hydrogen, we are talking about green hydrogen. Along with it, oxygen is also being produced. So as a policy and counselor, is it not green oxygen also? Can we leverage this oxygen into this hydrogen economy in terms of some CO2 emissions or cost-wise?
See, I think it is a fantastic idea, to monetize the oxygen that comes out from the hydrogen plant. And it requires, a very thorough analysis. Who are the end users? As such, if you do the mapping, you can very easily find it out. But it is pretty much established market, right? So steel industry for sure is one of the end user for such oxygen, and it can surely, such integration can optimize the cost of hydrogen as well as for the steel industry. So there are many new industries coming up like semiconductor industry, they also demand very high quality oxygen at a very large size, right? So that is also a potential end use where it can be. But surely if it can be monetized, I think it will surely bring down the cost.
That was, I think, the food for thought. I thought that, semiconductor
It's a good
industry,
question. Fantastic.
7N requirement of oxygen is there. So we can leverage that. Thank you.
So if you allow, I can add on something. It is very important that green hydrogen mission is, it is taking place. So for 1 kg of hydrogen, 8 kg of oxygen is liberated. In our tenders and site scheme, especially I will say about the refinery side because I belong to that one. So IOCL tender, they are taking this 7 or 7.2 kg of oxygen for their refinery purposes. This is very much there into the site scheme. We have already taken care of this. And another part is like steel. Yes, Nippon still they are using this oxygen in their steel-based plant. So there is a requirement. It depends that how you can utilize that. And obviously the transportation it is not a case where we cannot utilize this oxygen. Yes, with the hydrogen, there is a certain limitation. You cannot transport hydrogen, but oxygen certainly we can use if it is in situ, means nearby if we are utilizing it. So in site scheme, all the plants which we are seeing, they are nearby in the vicinity of the refineries, and we are encouraging the refineries to utilize that byproduct oxygen. Yes, it is there.
Thank you. Dr. Cho?
Thank you. I want to talking some comments. Today's green hydrogen and green steels, especially cooperations between both, and also very small questions. I have 2 small questions. First, when I talk, a lady mentions when we talk about the cooperations between the Korea and India, especially the such as industries, semiconductors, batteries, EVs. So in terms of the technologies and the experience and the industrial capabilities, the Koreans is a kind of some lead, and India is a kind of follower. But I found today is definitely in the green hydrogen sector and including the green steel sector, I think the India is a leader and we Korean are follower. We already saw in terms of the production capacities, India is already much higher. At this moment in Korea, in green hydrogen, we are just only pilot the test stages. And also in terms of some kind of the classification of green hydrogen, I already mentioned, we Korea and same the Japan, just only 4 kilograms to CO2 to make one the green hydrogen, but in India it's just only 2 kilogram of CO2 to make one the green hydrogen. And also in the steel sector, also India already adopt a kind of some classification, star 3, 4, 5. So it's very amazing for me. So that's why we have to collaborate between this sector also. And my question is very simple and small. I think to make the green hydrogen, the main material is the renewable energy. And also you emphasize the important thing is the price of the green hydrogen per kilogram. So how much % of the renewable energy cost in total green hydrogen, the cost? How many %? I would like to know. 60%. 60%. Oh. 60. And also you already mentioned the CII, the representative of the industry, especially the steels. The aim is to make the green hydrogen $1.5 per kilogram. So when did you make the target?
What I was trying to say, that to make a business case for the industry, this $1.5 needs to be achieved. So that's where we have to aspire. Because see, right now India is a coal-based economy. So there is a cost of coal and there is an indexation cost on coal, which how the coal prices will increase. Although there is a substantial increase. So at what price the hydrogen becomes at par with coal, so that the economics of energy, prevails. So that's where our analysis is $1.5 is there. So we have a long way to go, but with the kind of scale we are looking forward, I think it is achievable in the future. That is what I was trying to say.
Thank you.